Welcome guys, Matt from Total Drummer here. Today I want to talk about constructing a drum part because this is something that seems to terrify a lot of students. You know, if I give people some dots to read, they can work through that. That's, you know, there's very strict guidelines. If I say, right, we're just going to jam some music now, people freak out. They're like, what? Tell me what to play, what should I play? And the thing is, you know, being able to just create and improvise is the most fun part of music. When you get comfortable with that, it's way more fun than being told what to play. That's when you get to express yourself and just have fun and be creative. But I understand why people freak out sometimes because they don't really know what to play and how to break it down. So today, we're going to work through a track. We've got PDF sheet music. You've got the full backing track. You can get it all for free in the link below this video. So go and hit that if you want to get it. But first, let's watch this and figure out how to construct a drum part. Alright guys, so what I want to do is talk you through the piece, and I'm going to give you some thoughts and ideas, and I'm going to let you hear me playing it as well, but I've been kind of juggling it in my mind. Do I do that or not do it? So I kind of want you to just be able to create your own thing, and I don't want you to hear what I'm doing and go, oh yeah, I'm going to play that. But I'm going to do it for the purpose of this exercise so you can hear it. But really, you can come up with better stuff than me. And I'd love to hear it. This is actually a track that's been worked up. So what we're going to hear here is the MIDI demo. So there's no vocals on it yet. There's no solos from other instruments. It's all MIDI stuff. I'm going to lay the drums down. And basically, I don't know what to play. So I'm going to trick you into giving me your ideas. And then I'm going to nick your ideas, pretend they're mine, and make millions of pounds. Did I say that out loud? No, that's not what I'm doing. You know, this is just an exercise to help you figure some stuff out. But this is an actual track that's going to be built up, developed into a real song, and released into the world. So what we have here is a drum chart, and this might look really scary if you're not used to this sort of thing, because there's not a lot of information in there. But the information that is there looks a little bit overwhelming. Okay, but we're going to break it down. Once you get comfortable with this, it's a much nicer thing to see because it's just open to your interpretation. So it's where you get to be you on the track and no one's dictating exactly what to play. So let's check out the structure here. So we've got the tempo at the beginning, and we can see here it says verse. And we're going to look at the actual notes in a minute, but first I want to just go through the structure. So we can see here we've got 4 bars in a line, and there's 4 lines, so it's a 16-bar verse. And there's some stuff going on that we'll talk through, but you know, just for now, 16-bar verse. Then we're going to hit the chorus. Again, 16-bar chorus, and then there's a repeat mark in. So we're going to go back and we're going to do another verse and another chorus. So this is a really typical song structure so far. Verse, chorus, verse 2, chorus 2. You're going to get that in most genres. By this point, the listener's a little bit bored. They've heard the same 2 sections repeated. They need something new. So this is where you might get, in pop music for example, a mid-late. In rock music you might get a guitar solo. We're all about the drums here. So we're now going to go into a drum solo. And this is 4 bars repeated, so it's an 8-bar section. You can see there's some little stabs there, some little figures. We'll come to that in a minute. So we've got an 8-bar drum solo. And then page 2, we go into this half-time groove. And it looks a bit crazy, and we will talk through that because there's some tricky stuff in there. Anyway, so that lasts for 8 bars. And then we come to this key solo, and it says Samba-rock as a little guideline. And that's a 4-bar line repeated, and it says times 4. So we're going to go through that 4 times, making it a 16-bar section. And then we come to guitar solo over the verse. It's going to be the verse groove or the verse riff with a guitar solo over the top. And we can see here that this has a repeat, and the last bar says 1, 2, 3, and down on the next line it says 4. So you'll often see a repeated section has a different ending for the repeat. So what happens here is we play it the first time, we play that last bar, then we repeat. Second time we play the last bar, then we repeat. The third time we play that last bar, then we repeat. And on the 4th time we do these 3 bars, but instead of playing that first ending there, we're going to skip down to where it says 4 on the next line and do that. So the 4th time we don't do the last bar of that line, we skip down here, and we've got this figure here. Looks a bit scary, but it's not. We'll work on it, but it looks a bit scary. And we play through that, and then we hit a chorus. So it's just another chorus, the same as before, 16 bars. And then at the end we've got this little figure which is actually the same thing we saw at the end of the guitar solo. So that's the structure of it. I'm whizzing through it, but if you need to go back and watch that again, do so. But now we're going to break down each section one by one. All right, guys, so I want to check out the verse. So what we've got on that first bar is a suggested groove. You do not have to do that groove. That's just there to give you something to get going. So you've got just a fighting chance of knowing the sort of groove, because I know if you're not used to constructing drum parts, I've seen people do it where they just sit there for hours and will not play until I actually give them something to play, until I give them some ideas. So there's an idea, a starting point. But you might see above it, we've got these weird notes, these kind of slash notations, and you might think, what the hell's that? Basically, you can interpret that as you wish. Those are the rhythms the band are playing. So the rhythm there would go, this is the main riff, 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and a 1 E. So that gives you an idea of what the band are playing, and then what we can see is, so after that it doesn't show you the suggested groove again, it just gives you this little kind of weird sign, almost like a division sign in maths, but toppled over. That just means play another bar, similar to the one before it. So we've got that going through there, and you can see the little notes above it, the ensemble notes or the band notes, they're playing the same riff, and it keeps happening, the same riff. The only difference is the second bar of that riff varies a little bit. Right, so the second time, for example, the last 2 bars of the first line goes 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and a 1 E, and a 2, and a 3 E, and a 4. So you've got a choice here. You can either create a rhythm that hits all of those stabs, and that's going to be pretty manic, or you can ignore all of them and just play straight. And that's your choice, and every drummer is going to do something a little bit different. Some might kind of play it straight, but somehow accent the odd one of those stabs. And when they accent them, some might do it subtly with an open hat or a little bass drum. Some people are going to do it with their biggest China crash and go boom, you know, and there's not really a right or wrong. And what you'll find with like the great session drummers is they make really good musical choices, as well as having great feel and great timing and all of that. They also just pick out the right things to play. So that's a big part of this. But just try stuff. You might not get the right stuff straight away. And I'm going to give you some ideas as to what I might play. I don't even know yet, but I'm just going to give you some kind of first run through ideas. But I want you to come up with your own stuff and see what you come up with. So let's just have a little listen to what this section sounds like, and you're going to hear that rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gap, gap. Let's check it out. Right, so that's half the verse, and you can hear, so it's got that bam, 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 and then after that, in the gap, that's where the little variations occur. Okay, so that's why it's written out like this. So there's little bits that are different. So you can read the music to learn those, or you can just listen to it until you've learnt it by ear. As I say, choose to hit them or choose to ignore them. It's completely up to you. So what I want to do now is I'm going to just drop in a bit of me playing that. Just so you can kind of hear it with the drums and it brings it to life a bit. But I don't want you to copy me. And I might not stick with this. These are just some early ideas. But let's check it out on the kit to get a feel for this. Okay, so looking at this chorus part, we can see it's 16 bars long. On the 7th bar, there's a note written, and it's tied, and that's on the 4 and. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So the fact that it's tied tells us the band are doing a longer note, and therefore we might want to do a longer note. We might want to hit a crash, because that's a long note. So when we see the tied notes, that's kind of what it's saying to us. The band are doing a long note, so we might want to choose a sound on our drum kit that creates a long sound. Often that means a crash cymbal. And that happens on the second to last bar of the chorus as well. But you might want to ignore that completely and just play straight through it. So again, it's up to you. You've got that choice. So let's have a little listen, and I'll show you where that pushed bar is. It won't sound that prominent without drums in it. Okay, but I'll show you where it is anyway. 2, 3, 6. On the next bar, 7, 2, 3, 4. So there it is, 7, 2, 3, 4, and. So, let's check out an example of me playing on the kit. And you know, like I said, I don't want you to copy my ideas, they're just ideas to give you a feel for this in a musical context. You're going to come up with some cool stuff of your own, but let's check it out. Right guys, so we did verse 1, we did chorus 1, and then the song structure goes verse 2, chorus 2. Now you probably want to play these more or less the same, but you might want to add a little bit of interest in verse 2. So I'd keep that quite subtle if you go into it. It might be slight variety on the bass drum patterns, maybe some open hats here or there. I mean, often in a pop song, for example, that'll be done in the production stage, so it might be shakers added, some hand claps and tambourines or something. I don't know, so it's up to you, and you've got to try and figure out what's going on with the song. If you can't talk to the producer or the artist about that, then you've got to guess. But I wouldn't stray too far from verse 1 groove. You don't want to completely change the song, just maybe a little bit of subtle interest. Anyway, so we've done verse 1, chorus 1, verse 2, chorus 2. We need something new, and in this case, it's the drum solo. It's the last line in page 1, and it's 8 bars long, and what we can see are these stabs. So it's a dotted 8th note and then a 16th. So that goes 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. A bit quicker. 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. 1 E and a 2, 3, 4. Now, as a drummer, well, let's hear it so you can kind of get a vibe for it. 1 E and 2, 3, 4. 3, 4. And you can hear there's, you know, some percussion in there as well, just to kind of keep it all moving. So as a drummer, are you going to hit all those stabs? Are you going to hit none of them? Are you going to hit some of them? I mean, this is where it gets really fun and really creative, because every one of us will do something different in the drum solo, and it doesn't mean it's better or worse. That's the, you know, this is art. We're creating art, so we're all going to come up with some different stuff, and that's going to be really personal to us, and that's where it gets really interesting. I wouldn't necessarily worry about being super flat. Like, you don't have to change the world with every drum solo. You know, get timing good, get some variety in there. Just play what feels right to you. Hit the stabs, don't hit the stabs. Just have some fun with it. Don't worry. I see people get so stressed out about these drum solos, like it's going to be the biggest thing ever. It's going to sound better than you think. Even simple ideas sound really cool. It's just nice to hear those drum breaks and to really let the drums let loose. So have some fun. Here's an example of me trying some ideas out. Alright, so you've done your awesome 8-bar drum solo. The crowd are going mad. But in a way, we've got a harder bit now, so we're going to page 2. And it says half-time groove. Now, you know, you could do a half-time groove or not. I don't know, that's just a suggestion. You might come up with some awesome stuff. And I really hope some of you guys that watch this are going to go and get the track. Remember, the link is under this to go and grab it for free. And I'd love to just hear you or see you, or, you know, if you can video it or just record it. And, you know, I'd love to hear it. So if you do that, just reply below with a link to your video, because it'd be awesome. And I think other people that watch this, it'd be really cool for them over time to be able to go down there and see other people's interpretations of this song. And if that happens, if people do that, I want, you know, drummers are normally cool, aren't we? We're normally really supportive of each other. That's one thing I really love, meeting up with drum buddies. But it should be supportive. Like I say, it's not a right or wrong thing. What's great is if you gave this song to 10 drummers, they're all going to come up with 10 different drum parts. They're going to interpret this in different ways, and it's just really cool. And I love seeing that and just being able to pick bits out. You know, you just borrow and steal stuff, don't you? You go, oh, I love that, the way they did that thing. I'm going to nick that for when I play this song. So that would be awesome to see that. Please do it. Anyway, let's look at this half-time groove. So what we can see here is we've got a whole bunch of quite tricky rhythms, and I'm gonna count you through them and show you how they go. But you could totally ignore them, so it's up to you. If you're going to play them, it's probably going to be something subtle, like maybe a bass drum. So you could just keep the hats and the snare just as a constant thing. If it's going to be a half-time groove, or maybe not, you'll come up with something completely different. But I would keep the top stuff pretty straight for the most part, maybe. I don't know. And then maybe it's just a bass drum that's going to hit these. But if you're not comfortable doing that, just miss it. Just you play straight and let the band do this stuff over the top of you. So the rhythms here, it starts like the drum solo, 1 E and ah, but then it adds on a 1 E and a 2 E and ah. And that repeats, and it says times 3, so that happens 3 times. And then we come to the second bar here, and that goes 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. Tricky rhythm, and you can see the first 2 notes are short, and the last 3 notes are long. So again, you know, we touched on this earlier. You know, you've got 2 tied notes and a dotted 8th note, so they're longer notes there. Actually, the second note is as well, so we'll have to have a listen, but that might be a long note. So then maybe you're going to do the short ones with the bass drum, and the longer ones maybe you'll do with a crash cymbal, for example. So that's how you might interpret this and think, okay, the band are doing long notes, I'm going to do a long note on the crash. The band are doing short notes, I'm going to do a snare or a bass or something short sounding. Coming down to the next line, we go back to 1 E and 2 E and ah. And then the next bar, the last bar of line 2 goes 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and ah. And that ah is tied into the next note, into the next bar. So again, it's a push note there, it's a long note, and therefore you don't play the first note of the next bar on line 3. Now, look, I'm not going to go too deep into reading and the note values here because that's not what this is about. If you want help with that, I'll put a link under this video because there's a whole sight reading course. So if you do want help with sight reading, there's a link to a sight reading course, and I'll put it under the video. But for now, we're not going too deep into that, okay? But just kind of touching on how these rhythms go. So that long note there, we've kind of pushed that from beat 1 onto the ah of the bar before it and made it a long note. It's quite a nice effect. And then the last bar here is setting us up for the samba section next. It goes 1 and 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. Bam, 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 bam. So that's that. Let's check this out so you can hear those figures and get an idea of what I'm talking about. 3, and now this one. Here's that longer note. Ba, 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 ba. And then that's going to set us up for the samba. Check me out on the kit playing one possible example of what could be done here. Alright guys, so now we're coming to the Samba-rock section. And this is quite simple, right? It's given us a groove, you know, that's just a rough guide, as all of this is, right? So it's the classic sort of samba bass drum pattern, snare on 2 and 4. It's a 4-bar line, repeated 4 times, so it's a 16-bar section. There's going to be a key solo over the top of it. There's not yet. You might want to add some development of that section. And, you know, as it goes, maybe don't, I don't know, just whatever. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Have a listen to the section so you know what I'm talking about. Right, so it sounds a bit cheesy, right? You've got to imagine though, it's going to have a mind-blowing samba groove by you on it. It's going to be amazing. People will not be able to resist dancing to your samba rock groove. It's going to be incredible. And then, second to that, there's going to be an awesome key solo over the top of it as well. So you're laying this down with that in mind. You don't want to be just chucking too much with your crazy kind of Latin chops in there, and there's going to be a keyboard guy trying to do his best solo and you're in the way, you know, so just be mindful of that, be mindful of that. It's going to be cool. So anyway, check me out playing some ideas on the kit just so you can get a feel for that. Right, so we're getting to the end now. I'd say we've got through the hardest bit. We come to this guitar solo over the verse section now. So It's is it this? Haha, more samba. Woo! Where is it? Here we go. So it says guitar solo over the verse. So it's back to that kind of sound. And it's 4 bars, and we can see we've got that first, second and third time ending. Talked about it earlier, so we're going to play it once, twice, 3 times, and then on the 4th time we're going to play the first 3 bars, but we're not going to play that ending because it says 1, 2, 3. So on the 4th time we're going to skip that and go straight down to the 4th ending. Tricky little pattern here. So it goes 1 E, a 2 E, and a 3 E, and a 4 E, and a 1 E, and a 2 E, and a 3 E, and a 4 E. So it follows on from that riff. So you know, go bam, 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 bam. It takes those last 2 notes. Bam, 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 ba-da-dum, bam, bam, ba-da-dum, bam, bam, ba-da-dum, ba, 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 ba. That's me singing it. Let's check it out. Skip ahead. Here we go. Oh, so little rain stick or something. So that's that bit. Bam 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 bam. Again, read it if you're a pretty hot reader. If you're not so good at reading, just learn it by ear. Just listen to it. You'll get the hang of it. You'll be awesome. So, and anyway, then we go into another chorus, same as before. So 16 bars. It's got that push note if you want to do it, and then. Oh, actually, what am I talking about? I've got to play. Right, ignore me. We're going to go back, have a listen to me playing the guitar solo thing with the verse. And by the way, I think it's going to be a pretty rocky guitar solo, so I'm going to probably just rock it up a little bit more than I did in the verse, although it's the same groove. I'm going to rock it up a bit. But again, not getting too much in the way, because there's going to be a guitar dude shredding with all his fingers, and I don't want to ruin that for him. Have a listen. Alright, so now we can go to the chorus. Same as before, 16 bars, so it's 8 bars but it repeats. It's got that little push bit on the 7th bar both times. That's that. So then, you know, that's whatever, same as before. You might just give it a bit more oomph because it's the last chorus, but pretty much same as before. And then at the end we're going to come into, we've got 3 more bars and it's stuff you've already done. So it actually goes into that riff that you did earlier. Alright, so this is, so we got that bit. Okay, so that was the riff. Ba, 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 da, da, ba, 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 da. Then we're into a chorus. So into the chorus. Okay, and then, so if I take it to the end of that, you're going to hear the end riff. So it goes back to the verse riff for 1 bar, and then that same thing. Bam, bam, ba, da, da, bam, bam. Let me play that. So last line now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ba, 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 ba. Dead stop on that. That's it. Check it out on the kit. Guys, listen, I hope, I mean, I'm blitzing through it. I hope it kind of makes sense and you can kind of hear some ideas of me. This is a really cool exercise and I just want to help people get creative because this is the most fun thing in drumming. And if you're just used to learning songs and learning 1 bar fills and beats that you find on the internet or that your drum teacher gives you, and you haven't got the confidence yet to just get creative and expressive, put the time in because it unlocks the door to just way, way more fun than just learning other people's stuff. This is where you get to develop your sound and it's what music's about, okay? So this sheet music is available to you. Go and download it. And the track is available to you without me drumming on it. So you can do it. And also there's the full version of me playing it. I will say this, I'm not necessarily making excuses because I don't know if the finished thing will be better, but it's me just playing some initial ideas as I'm kind of working out my own parts. Often I'll change stuff as I go. But I would say 9 times out of 10, my first instinct is the one I like to go with. But often I'll kind of evolve the part and improve parts. So it's not necessarily the finished part there, but I just all the little bits I've been showing you clips of, you can just watch the whole thing so you can get a feel for how I built a drum part. But please don't copy me, because that's not the point of this lesson. The point is, there's some ideas, now you go and do your own thing, you know, make it yours. I would love to see your versions. And as I said before, drummers are cool, they'll be supportive. So if you do want to put a link below of a recording of you or a video of you doing it, I will definitely check it out and leave a comment. And I know everyone else would be really supportive as well. It's a great thing. There's no rights or wrong here. We all just come up with different stuff. So do that. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe. Loads more coming. And I will see you in the next lesson.